If Kanye West were to go on the Alex Jones show, it would be a major healing event for this nation, a racially healing event. The kind of healing that people want, that people wanted when they voted for Obama in 2008, for example. And yet Obama, he pushed a lot of racial division and a lot of racial hatred. And frankly, a lot of black folks realize they're way worse off after 8 years of Obama than they were when they started with Obama in 2008. But now under Trump, black unemployment is at its lowest level ever. African Americans today under Trump have more opportunity and more job opportunities and independent small business opportunities than ever before in memory for generations. And you see Kanye West gets that, and Candace Owens, she gets that too. And Candace already went on InfoWars, and Kanye, maybe he's considering it. I'm just saying, I'm a fill-in host for Alex Jones from time to time. I have my own show on InfoWars called Counterthink. But I'm just saying that this will be a healing event. It'll be a revolution in American culture. And of course, all these controllers are trying to scare Kanye to say, "Oh, don't go on there. You're gonna empower racists and white supremacists." Like, what are you talking about? What racists? The only racists I see are the white slave masters of the Democrat Party. People like Dr. Phil, who's out there saying that, Kanye shouldn't go on Alex Jones. Dr. Phil is basically saying, Kanye, you should get back in your slave cage. How dare you open the cage and walk outside and start thinking for yourself? How dare you leave the black control plantation put in place by the white massa Democrats? You see what I'm saying? You talk about racism and bigotry. It's these Democrats. The Democrats started the KKK. Democrats ran the KKK. The Democrats pushed the segregation of schools throughout American history. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, I believe, was passed by Republicans. Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves, he's a Republican, people. Get a grip, wake up. You see, Kanye is waking up. And it's a major, it's like someone has torn a hole in the matrix, Kanye could red pill more people in America than anyone. And that's why they're so afraid of him. And that's why you got people like Dr. Phil and I don't know who else, just all these white guys out there saying, "Oh, Kanye, get back in your cage. Don't speak out. Oh, you must be mentally ill," they say. And you got some of these black Hollywood actors like Jamie Foxx out there also saying, "Oh, he might be mentally ill," or some variation of that. It's pretty sickening to see black brothers turn against Kanye because Kanye doesn't want to be a mind slave. It reminds me of the old plantation days. You had, at least as depicted in books and films and so on, obviously none of us were there, but in terms of the cultural memory, black slaves were not allowed to learn how to read. And why do you think that was? Because the white slave owners of the time didn't want black folks to be able to gain an education, to think for themselves, to communicate with each other, to be able to write messages to each other, because that's that's the internet of the day, being able to write, reading and writing on paper. Literacy was a way out of slavery. And so the plantation owners didn't want black people to be able to read or write. And if you taught a black person to read, even if you're a white person, you could be arrested or criminalized or shamed or maybe thrown out of the family. Who knows? Because it was a crime to teach a black person how to read. Because the white slave plantations, which continue to this day, they're just called Democrats now. They continue to say, "Oh, black people." They don't want black people to be able to read, to write, think for themselves, to speak for themselves, to do anything that would allow them to free themselves from the modern day plantations. And the only difference is that, back in the slave days, the early 1800s or what have you, that whole slave plantation era, it was a physical shackles. They would chain your ankles and chain your wrists and whip slaves and physically force them to do their bidding. Today, the shackles are mental. They've got you mentally enslaved. They've got your mind. They force not only black folks to be their mind slaves, but then they force other black folks to be the prison guards of your mental prison. So people like Jamie Foxx and other rappers out there who are attacking Kanye, their job is to be the enforcers, the prison guards of the mental prison, to say, oh, don't you dare walk outside this boundary. Because right here, this boundary, you're not allowed to go outside that because you're black. You have to be in the Democrat slave plantation, mental prison for your mind. And if you step outside of that, we're going to call you mentally ill, you see. That's what Dr. Phil is doing. It is sickening. You talk about bigotry. What Dr. Phil is doing, he is the biggest effing bigot right now. To say that about Kanye, to say that just because Kanye wants to speak his mind that he's mentally ill, you know what? F you, Dr. Phil, for saying that about Kanye. Shame on you. You are why free black people hate old white men like you, because you're trying to keep people in their cages. I just want everybody to be free to think, everybody to be free to speak. And I've even said before, and I'll say it again, this whole designation of black and white is just total nonsense to begin with. I don't think about people as being white people or black people. I mean, I use the terms because it's a social convention to talk to the public, but in my mind, we're all humans. And by the way, in anthropological science, we all came from Africa. All of our ancestors are from Africa. I've said this before. At one time in human history, there were only about 4,000 people alive, 4,000 human beings. That was the entire global population, according to scientists, mainstream scientists. And all those people were black people, by the way. All those people were Africans. So all of us, whether you're white, if you're Native American, you're Chinese, you're Latino, you're European, you're German, you're British, you're French, whatever, you're African too, because your ancestors came from Africa. And so what Kanye is doing is just being a human being. I don't even think of Kanye as a black man trying to be free. I just think of Kanye as an awakened, enlightened man who dares to tell the truth, who dares to ask questions. A real man who dares to, knock on that wall or open that door and walk outside that prison cage and say, hey, what else is out here in the world? Maybe we've been lied to. Maybe we've been controlled. Maybe we've been exploited or abused or suppressed or kept down. Maybe we're just living in another different form of slavery today versus the form that kept our ancestors enslaved several generations ago. Because Kanye is getting it. Kanye is thinking. He is innovating. I mean, he's speaking out. And it just scares the left so much because they know they're losing this guy. They're losing this powerful slave that they had. And they want all black folks to be slaves on that Democrat plantation. If you think about it, it's modern day politics on the Democrat side is a bunch of rich, wealthy, elite white people like Joe Biden and Dr. Phil and Hillary Clinton and so on, enslaving a bunch of oppressed, impoverished black people that they consider them to be black, and keeping them down and saying, oh, here, we'll give you food stamps. Just keep voting Democrat. Oh, we'll give you housing subsidies. Just keep voting Democrat. Oh yeah, we'll evoke some racial hatred from time to time so you can take to the streets and be angry and act out your anger. But the Democrats aren't willing to actually help you. The Democrats aren't going to say, hey, let's create an economy so this black community can rise, lift itself up from poverty and destitution and have some human dignity. You see, so much of this comes down to basic human dignity. And it's conservatives that believe in human dignity. The bigotry and intolerance is coming from the Democrats. And they're the ones that say they hate Christians and they hate white people sometimes. And then they hate certain black people like Kanye if they don't stay on the black plantation, you see. And then they say they hate Southerners and they hate gun owners and they hate Texans. And they hate people, they hate strong, powerful women like Sarah Huckabee Sanders or Sarah Palin for that matter. They hate women that dare to be conservatives, or women who dare to learn how to shoot a gun and protect their own lives. They hate women who are pro-Second Amendment. They hate it. All that hatred and bigotry is coming from the left. And there might be a few fringe, crazy fringe KKK groups out there. The numbers are almost minuscule, near zero in this country. I'm sure some of them exist, but just to tell you how small they are, I live in central rural Texas, farming community. I interact with lots of people all the time, farmers, ranchers, welders, construction people, all kinds of trades people. Never once in all the years that I've lived in rural Texas have I ever encountered a single person who invited me to a KKK meeting, or who even used the N-word around me, or who even came off as a racist. And yet, according to the Democrat left, the white-controlled Democrats who rule, Hollywood and late-night comedy, and they're sitting in Los Angeles and they're sitting in New York, they think that Texas is like KKK Central somehow. They think that there's like racist bigots all over the place. Maybe Alex Jones is leading them, they say. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I mean, my wife is Chinese. My wife is an immigrant. Well, she's from Taiwan, but she's Chinese from Taiwan. She's a legal immigrant. I'm married to an immigrant. I lived in South America. I speak conversational Spanish. I speak Chinese. We are multicultural. We are progressive in the sense of respecting human dignity. And that's who we are. And we don't judge others or judge ourselves by the color of our skin. We judge people by the merit of their actions and the merit of their thoughts. We judge people only by, are you honest? Do you have values? Do you have principles? Do you do what you say you're going to do? And this is why when we see people like Kanye waking up, or Candace Owens, who is such an eloquent speaker and has such an amazing structural thought presentation method to talk about these very, very important issues without being like over the top, insane, energetic or whatever. I mean, Candace Owens is just cool, calm, meticulous in her logic and reasoning. We see people like that. And then at the same time, maybe Kanye's fan base would be able to see the truth about Alex Jones, which is that he is also an open-minded, caring, compassionate person. He's not this evil demon creature that the left falsely makes him out to be and lies about him constantly, the same way they lie about me, they lie about Candace Owens, they lie about every truly independent thinker in our world today gets smeared, gets slandered, gets lied about, sued, oppressed, censored, deplatformed, you name it. If Kanye's audience could see the true Alex Jones for what he is, the Alex Jones that I know and that I see, which is someone who cares so deeply about humanity and wants every person to be free, doesn't have a racist bone or fiber in his body. He doesn't want black people to be enslaved. He wants black people to be free. He wants everybody to be free, universally. That's the true Alex. And if Kanye's audience could see that in Alex and actually see the reality of what Alex is trying to accomplish on his show, that would be an amazing healing moment. And so I'm voting for these two guys, Kanye West and Alex Jones, and get together, have a show, and just show the world what racial healing and racial unity looks like, because what we all have in common is we all want to be free. We share the same dreams. We share the same heart, the same motivation, whether you're black or white or a mixture or 57% black and 43% white or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's pointless, actually. We are all human. We all have human dreams. We all have human creativity. We all have a human soul. We all have a mind. We all have a sense of self-awareness. We all have the ability to influence this world in a positive way if we so choose. And yet there are all these evil forces allied against us that are trying to shut down free thinking and shut down critical thought. And those people like Dr. Phil and others, Jamie Foxx and others, they are evil. They're constrictive. They want to shut down free speech. They want to shut down freedom. They want to control and they want to suppress and they want to keep people down. They're the modern day slave masters and thought police. And we have to resist those people at every opportunity. And when I say we, let me just clarify. By we, I mean all of us, regardless of our color, of our religion, of our gender, even our sexual orientation, background, country of origin, whatever. It is really the real war in in human civilization right now is we the people versus the controllers. The controllers want to keep you in your mental prison. The controllers want to keep you divided, especially black and white. The controllers want chaos. They want world war. They hate the fact that Trump is negotiating peace between North and South Korea, for example. The controllers want destitution, desperation. They want people to be dependent on government, because the last thing that they want is people to be free to the point where they don't need to be told what to think or how to live their lives or what words to use, pronouns to use, what you're allowed to say or what films you can watch. You know, there's all these left-wing leaning publications now calling for the outright banning of conservative films. They're calling on Netflix and Amazon to just memory hole all conservative and libertarian movies and documentaries and films. They just want to turn Netflix and Amazon into a giant, liberal echo chamber of delusion. Because that's the world in which they live, by the way. They're already living in their delusional worlds. They can't stand. They turn on Netflix and they see a documentary that's not liberal. It drives them insane. And that's why Kanye is driving them insane too, because Kanye, he can't be molded into, you can't control Kanye because he's a man who thinks for himself. You can't, he doesn't want to be puppeted by a puppeteer. He's not someone that just surrenders his soul to some corporate sponsor or some social influence that's telling him, you have to say this, you have to think that, you have to tell your audience that. Kanye's not that way because he's his own man. And there are women like that too, of course, like Candace Owens, who I've mentioned. These are their own souls, their own people. And that's what we need in our world, because we got to fight against the division, the oppression, the tyranny, the thought police, the mental prisons, all that stuff. And Kanye West, like Alex Jones and others, is showing us how to do it. And perhaps in my own way, I'm known in this realm as well. I help awaken people. I play a small role in this global conversation as well. But it's not about me. It's not about Kanye. It's not about Alex. It's about the mass awakening. And the system is terrified of anybody famous who starts to awaken, because they might awaken some other people at the same time. They might just walk down that metaphorical hallway and just start tapping people on the temples like, wake up, wake up. Welcome to the real world, Neo. This is the real world. You've been red-pilled. Your eyes are open now. You can see what's actually happening in the world around you. All those cobwebs and all those shady little apparitions and delusions and fairy tales they've been stuffing into your head, you just rip them right out and throw them away, discard them, because now you can see with clarity the real world for the first time. And you realize you've been lied to. You've been indoctrinated. You've been propagandized by the system. You've been controlled. And you've been turned into a weapon of the system until you wake up. When you wake up, then they try to destroy you. Just like they're doing to Kanye, just like they're doing to Alex Jones, just like they attack me and many, many others. If they can't control you, they will try to destroy you. And they're going to cut off Kanye's sponsors if they can, and they're going to cut off Kanye's voice, and they're going to cut off Kanye's record deals, and they're going to try to destroy his company and destroy his wife and his family and everything. And you know what? If anything, even if Kanye stops talking about all this awakening right now, at the very least, Kanye knows now how evil the system is that tries to control your thoughts, because he has now been targeted by that system in just 2 weeks. Kanye now knows the truth, and he can never go back to not knowing the truth. And I believe that people like Kanye can never go back to being silent. He will always share the wisdom that he has learned with other people. Kanye has now become an awakened, empowered being, a real human being. And he, I believe, will continue to be a force for awakening for many years to come. And I hope that all of us can do that as well. Share this video if you like it. Check more episodes at counterthink.com. And of course, I'm launching a new video website, an alternative to YouTube. It's called Real.video, launches this July. It's the uncensored alternative to YouTube. We welcome channels on freedom of speech, natural medicine, cannabis, firearms, anything you want that's getting banned by YouTube right now. So check out real.video. It's a very major, it's a big launch. It's coming soon. Thank you for watching. God bless America. Never be afraid to think for yourself. Never be afraid to speak out like I'm doing here. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.